Boy, oh boy, do I got a bizarre movie to talk about with you guys today. So, literally just watched it, had to get this off my chest, looked it up quickly here on YouTube. I don't even think a single person has ever even talked about this movie on YouTube. I see like random clips here and there, unless it's buried way at the bottom. But I'm honestly shocked to even see this movie available to buy or rent on YouTube. And the movie is called Blood and Chocolate, a Love Story. I mean, not Blood and Chocolate, Blood and Concrete. I kept calling it Blood and Chocolate for some reason. I don't know why. In all honesty, the title for this movie is completely forgettable, terrible title. Like, I swear to God, a month from now, I'm going to be like, what's that awesome Billy Zane movie that I watched? It's Blood and something? I swear to God, I'm going to forget in a month what this movie's called. But I guarantee you a month from now, even a year from now, I will not forget about this movie. This is a hidden gem, you guys. This is a buried treasure. I love this movie. I don't think it's perfect. In fact, it's very, very far away from being so. But by God, this movie was so entertaining. I loved this movie. I loved, my main purpose for watching this was to watch something with Billy Zane. I've always loved Billy Zane. He's one of those actors that everything I've seen him in, I've always liked him in it. From his supporting role in Titanic to The Phantom, which I think is a awesome, super underrated movie. And then another underrated one, the Tales from the Crypt movie, Demon Knight, that has William Sadler in as well. He's just an enormous talent, and I was like, why haven't I seen more stuff with Billy Zane? He's just one of those actors that I think he deserved more success. I'm not sure what he's doing now. He's probably just doing more direct-to-DVD stuff, I presume. But, seeing him in this movie, by God, this movie's so underrated, man. The closest comparison I could make in regards to this movie is the Big Lebowski. I was shocked about like halfway through it. I was thinking, this movie reminds me of something, and then it randomly clicked in with me. I'm like, oh, the Big Lebowski. This reminds me very much of the Big Lebowski. It's very profane. It's about this main character who's wrapped up in this subplot that he wants nothing to do with. Basically his entire goal is just to get out of town and to, be left alone or what have you. So he's sort of unwillingly brought along for the ride. And it's ridiculous the way he keeps getting brought into these scenarios. It's almost as if, all of these characters who are pushing the plot forward, it's almost as if they have GPS trackers hidden inside of him. Because, every time it's convenient for him to be found by these said characters, they always just... They happen to be outside of his apartment or outside of the restaurant that he's at or outside the cemetery. It's relentless. This movie feels like it's taking place in this bizarro world. It's so damn bizarre. I swear if I keep talking about this for 20 minutes or so, it's going to be me repeating myself and saying how bizarre this movie is over and over again. Because it truly is madness. It's a maddening movie in the best possible sense, in my opinion. I'm shocked that this has so few reviews. I mean, and what is with this new IMDb page crap here? They redesigned this page, so now I can't even see how many reviews there are for this movie. Gosh. Terrible layout, you guys. Terrible layout. Oh, wait. There it is. It has only 624 reviews on IMDb. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy. The general synopsis they have for this movie, it's R-rated. It's 99 minutes. The synopsis for it is a car thief and a punk rocker fall in love as they become embroiled in deaths attributed to a aphrodisiac. So yeah, it's all about this drug. It's like in this pink tablet. It's libido. It's this sex drive drug, basically. And I won't lie, part of me was 100% willing to, put this movie on, watch it for 10, 15 minutes, and just go like, this isn't for me. Because, it had middling reviews on IMDb here. It's got like a 5.8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it fares even worse. It's got 46% with 110 votes, but obviously IMDb is closer to the truth here. Yeah, I don't want to say too much about this film because I really, really do not want to spoil it for you guys. I really highly, highly recommend you watch this movie. Please do yourself a favor, give this movie a watch, and I think you'll be impressed, and I think you'll just be as shocked as I was to see how underrated this movie is. First off, this movie's got a hell of a cast. Billy Zane's great here. Jennifer Beals, they have great chemistry at the start of the movie, even though like it's it's like almost forced in a way. It's almost like very scripted in a sense. But I was happy to see that this film was generally a comedy. Like, it's very much a comedy. I thought this movie was going to take itself a lot more seriously, but almost immediately that was disproven. The opening scene for this, and that's the most viewed clip here on YouTube, is this RYTP source, Blood and Concrete, a love story, 1991. It's this 30-second clip, and it's probably the funniest scene in the movie. It's the scene that yeah, let's put it back on that screen. Much brighter. It lights up my face more instead of put me in shadows. I look like I'm villainous or something in shadow here. But the opening scene, Billy Zane's trying to steal this TV, and this guy's walking home. He's got a beer in hand and like a grab bag full of his lunch or what have you. But he's running after Billy Zane, and they're doing this like chase around his car. And then he slices Billy Zane's arm, and Billy Zane's bleeding out, and he runs away, and it leads to this very quick 30-second close up of this guy screaming this profanity laced tirade that, wow, like the stuff of legend, this guy. I don't know who the hell this actor is, but by God, this guy. I think his name is Billy Bastiani or something like that, because on yeah, Bill Bastiani or something like that. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. But he sort of opens the film and he's just screaming into the camera, and it's just immediately, okay, this is going to be a comedy. Thank God. Just from looking at the poster, I don't know why, for some reason I thought this movie was going to try to be one of those movies that's super cool and hip and down with the kids or whatnot. I thought it was going to be very, like, trying to be way too cool for school or what have you. And it's the total opposite. I mean, sure, you got Billy Zane in here, and he's handsome as all hell. He's dressed all slick, and he's great. He's a charismatic lead in this. But the standouts, in my opinion, are definitely the supporting cast, and I haven't even touched on, we got Darren McGavin here as Hank Dick. He's this detective guy who's always on Billy Zane. He plays Joey in this movie. He's always on Joey's tail. And he does this thing with his voice, like Darren McGavin. I almost want to say he's terrible in this movie, but I think he knows exactly the type of movie that he's in. So, as bad as this performance seems at first when I heard what he was doing with his voice, I'm like, you're normally better than this, man. Like, what are you doing here? But as the film goes on, and you know, you're getting more comfortable with the tone of you know, how these characters are and what have you. By God, I was just along for the ride 100% of the way. You know, I deeply enjoyed this movie. The supporting cast here really made this movie, in my opinion, especially this guy. And of course, I got to bring up this actor's name here because he damn well steals the show here, in my opinion. And of course, he's got a name that I'm probably going to butcher. His name is Mark Pellegrino. I think I got that right, actually. Mark Pellegrino. He plays this character named Bart. And before I get to that, we got a Simpsons connection here, too, because we got Harry Shearer. Shearer, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his last name here. He plays a character named Sammy. Obviously, we know Harry Shearer here. I'm darn it. I know he's on The Simpsons, but I'm forgetting the name of his character is slipping because I swear he plays like multiple characters on The Simpsons. He plays Kent Brockman. Okay, so I think that's his character. Like he probably has other side characters on The Simpsons, but okay, yeah. So he does the voice for Scratchy, Mr. Burns, Moe, Chief Wiggum, Ned Flanders. Okay, so yeah, I had a feeling. Like on Rotten Tomatoes here, it's just a mess. It's like, ugh. But yeah, he pops up in this movie. I swear, I thought he was just going to be a cameo, but he pops up a lot more than I was thinking at first. Now I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. You know, more Harry the better, I guess. Yeah, but great cast here, and the standout, in my opinion, is now I'm feeling like I'm going to butcher his name. Mark Pellegrino. There we go. Mark Pellegrino as Bart is definitely the bloody standout here, guys. This guy, by God, man, he steals the show. He's this crazy, like, roided out guy who's always on this constant drug high. You know, like he's almost like an amalgamation of the nihilists from the Big Lebowski. Actually, I've got to look up this other actor in here. He plays this character named Lance. His name is James LaGrosse, or James LaGrosse. I got to see if this guy was in the Big Lebowski, because he looked so familiar, and I kept saying to myself, where have I seen this guy before? He's in a ton of movies, too. A ton. By God. Yeah, I can't say I've seen most of these films that he's in, but he's got a ton. I've seen Enemy of the State. Yeah, that's the Will Smith movie. Zodiac. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with with a lot of these movies, but hey, this guy's got quite the career, wide-ranging movies that some of these actually look pretty interesting, and he's pretty well-versed in television, too. Shows like Roseanne, Law and Order, ER, Girls, Justified. Justified's an awesome show. And yeah, wow. Yeah, this guy's doing good. This James LaGrosse fella, he plays like this pathetic ex-boyfriend character. You know, he's sort of like a punk rocker too, or actually he's more of like this like screamo type head-banging mosh pit style. I don't know what the hell genre you'd clump that in, quite frankly. I don't give a damn. But but yeah, I love the supporting cast here. You know, Billy Zane is sort of like the straight man in all of this. You know, and it's funny because he's getting like tossed around by old man Darren McGavin. And it's so funny. You're watching this scene where Darren McGavin, this like guy who's obviously old and, you know, couldn't keep up with Billy Zane physically, but he's slamming him around in this bathroom stall, and it gets so absurd that it's hilarious. I swear to God, this film is like set in this alternate reality where dead bodies don't get picked up by you know, by the coroners or what have you. And like there's even this one scene where like this guy, I'm not sure if he works with the ambulance or whatnot, but he's there's this guy and he's sitting at this table and he's got a gunshot wound in his head, and this guy's just like poking at his face, and I'm like, what's going on here? Why are these characters so like okay with dead bodies? You know, like I swear, like even in the background of this restaurant, they got people like walking by, like regular customers, and they're just like, oh, another dead body, another chip off the old block. It's so bizarre. I mean, I can't stress that enough. This movie made me feel like I was like in another dimension or something. It's just so weird, so trippy, so drugged out, and I guess that's why it very much reminded me of The Big Lebowski. Yeah, this came out before The Big Lebowski. Big Lebowski, I think, was like later in the 90s. This was 91. So I don't know, maybe the Coen brothers got some inspiration from this film? I don't know, because structurally it feels like a very similar sort of movie. It's missing those sidekick characters that the dude has, and quite frankly, Billy Zane's character Joey here isn't anywhere near as compelling as the dude was. But that's where the supporting characters come in. They really shine in this movie, sort of like Walter, John Goodman's character in The Big Lebowski. You know, they all have their little ticks and their own little motivations, and meanwhile Billy Zane's sole motivation is just to get the hell out of Dodge, and he falls in love with this girl played by Jennifer Beals along the way. She plays Mona. And at first I thought they were going to focus primarily on the love story between these characters, and like I thought, you know, all of her exes were going to come into play and he was going to have to like win back her affection. But I was happy that it didn't go down that predictable route. Every time I thought I knew where the hell this movie was going, boom, it does something new. And part of that is due to the god-awful editing, too. The editing in this film is completely ridiculous. There are so many continuity errors that it's almost as if they did it intentionally knowing that this was going to be a comedy. And there are scenes where the editing is just so weird, where you're like, okay, we go from this one restaurant scene to we're back at this pool set, and it's like I just started laughing because I'm like, what the hell is going on? And there's so many scenes like that, especially involving this Bart character. You know, like he absolutely steals the show. He's wildly entertaining whenever he's on screen. And you know, he's got this sort of head honcho guy played by Nicholas Worth. He plays this character named Sputz or Spuns. And I remember him from his terrific role as Polly in Darkman. You know, they give him that, they give Durant that classic line, "Well, Polly, have a nice flight." And then cut to him flying, flying out the window. And if you haven't seen Darkman, somehow go watch that movie, because Darkman's incredible. Sam Raimi, Liam Neeson movie. I love it. But by God, I can't get over how absolutely floored I was with how entertaining this movie is. It's completely. It took me aback. It took me aback how pleasantly surprised I was by this movie, because I genuinely did not think this was going to be a good movie at all. Like I said previously, I thought I was just going to cut this movie off after 10-15 minutes, because I thought it was going to, you know, basically be about Billy Zane being too cool for school throughout the movie, and he's got this hot chick, and they just, every other scene, are having sex. And hell no, that is so far from the bloody truth. They, you know, once they have their sex scene and it's literally like that and it's gone, it's like skyrocketing out into oblivion. It's just like, we'll do whatever the hell we want with this movie now. It's like the movie's hijacked from, like, by several different departments. Like, oh, you You want a bit of a car chase? You got it. You want a drug movie? You got it. You want a comedy, slapstick, drama, crime? You got it. This film basically has everything, and it's so damn entertaining. Obviously I have a bevy of complaints, but judging by how entertained I was by this movie, they don't amount to shit for me, quite frankly. I genuinely was thoroughly impressed with this movie. As flawed as it is, by God, I damn near want to give this a 10 out of 10. I am almost I am almost there, because I was laughing like basically every 5 minutes. There's like something new, something ridiculous, whether it be Darren McGavin's introduction, like they do this awesome like cutaway shot. It's the editing in this, like it's weird at time with the continuity, but it almost seems like that's intentional, because like it gets you laughing, because like there are scenes where it's like, okay, like I like the way this you guys edited this is clever. I've seen it in similar, or not similar movies, but I've seen similar shots and editing styles in movies before. But Darren McGavin's introduction in this is pretty cool. Like the character who's yelling at Billy Zane early on in the movie, he sort of turns around abruptly, and then all of a sudden you cut to gunshot, Darren McGavin, boom, 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 boom. And he's in this like a shooting gallery. And these two dickhead detectives come up behind him while he's shooting, and like he doesn't say a word in his opening scene. He literally just turns around and points the gun at these two cops, and like there's no consequences for his action. It's just like, what are you doing? You're pointing a gun at these two fellow police officers, and they're not doing anything. They're just sort of laughing like, ha 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 ha. It's just like, what world does this take place in? Because it's not planet Earth, let me tell you that. This is some like far out bizarro world, if anything. And I cannot praise this movie enough, you guys. I am genuinely, thoroughly, very happy with how this movie ended up being, because like literally I thought this movie was going to be complete and utter garbage. I thought, with an abysmal audience score, even on IMDb, like a middling score, like 5.8 out of 10, I'm like, this movie can't be that good, can it? But it is. It's great. It's great. This is a must-see movie, you guys. If you have not seen this movie, please do yourself the favor. Watch this movie. Of all the movies I've reviewed recently on this channel, I gotta say that this one may be at the top of the totem pole of the ones that I've reviewed so far. I am 100% on board with this movie. Cannot stress enough how entertained I was by it. Maybe a minor problem is that even though it's very short at 99 minutes or 97, whatever it said here, like around 97 minutes or so, like God knows how long the credits are. They're probably like 3 minutes or so. But yeah, in spite of the short runtime, this movie did admittedly feel like it was, like kind of longer than it is. But I won't lie, early on, like it had this like constant momentum. Like I had to pause the movie at one point, and I was shocked to see that it had like 10 minutes left. It was like, whoa, like that's it? Holy Toledo. Like so even me saying that as a complaint, I mean, I didn't find it to be a major complaint at all. I was thoroughly impressed with this movie all the way through. I just happened to put it on pause because I had to go do something real quick. And I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything else, because there's so much that I want to talk about, but so much about what I want to talk about is a spoiler, and I know most of you, if you're watching this, you probably haven't seen this movie. And I do not want to spoil this movie at all, other than the fact that if you like a movie like Big Lebowski, and if you like my boy Billy Zane, I mean, he's a really nice guy. He's a really cool dude. you know, or whatever that line from Zoolander is. But yeah, Billy Zane's you know, charming as all hell here. Uh, you know, and you're just along for the ride with him the entire way. And yeah, I feel like now I'm getting to the point in this video where I've just been repeating myself for the past 5 or so minutes now. So yeah, if I'm not 100% firmly set on this being a 10 out of 10, it's definitely a 9 out of 10, you guys. But I'm seriously, I'm so gung-ho for this movie. This movie is so damn underrated. This movie deserves your attention and Audrey's attention as well. Tail all flailed out. She's running like crazy over here. And yeah, highly recommend this movie. I really wish this movie had more people talking about it, because it's so bizarre. Like I really wish this was more of a known movie, so I could be like, hey, remember that scene from this movie? Remember this crazy opening scene and this scene involving this Bart character, and like, oh god, yeah. Let's stop it here, you guys. Watch this movie. I want to hear more people talking about this damn movie, please and thank you, because it's so freaking awesome. Really awesome movie, you guys. Enough of me rambling and repeat myself. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody.